Just so you understand what it is and why we want to do this. The first thing we want to do with anybody when we sponsor them into the business, we're recruiting them, is we got to set their goals. I need to find out what their goal is. And so when I'm recruiting somebody and they're ready to sign up, then I'm going to sit down with them and I'm going to go through these steps right here and explain System 7 to them and talk about the goals. Many of you probably know that there's a small booklet you can download from One Team Global that covers these points, and you can sit down with somebody and get them oriented right there, and you can do a little fast start training in an hour even, or you could do it in 2 hours, or you can even do the expanded fast start in a whole day of training if you want to do that on a Saturday in your area. But that kind of initial sitting down with somebody is important because it lays the ground rules for your engagement with them, how you're going to work with them. And for me, what I do when I sponsor somebody is I want to know what their goal is. I don't want to put my goal on them because that's never going to work. If they're not self-motivated and they don't want to, really go do the work, then I'm not going to do the work for them. Sometimes people will say, well, if you get a good person who wants to sign up but they're really busy and they don't have enough time to actually call their contacts, but they're willing to give you their list of contacts so you can call them, would you do that? I would never do that. All right, even if they said, here's my whole Rolodex, here's all these great people, they all know me, call them and tell them I told you to call them. Still wouldn't do it. Why?
Because it's not personal.
Yeah, I mean, it might as well be a cold call. That's a very difficult scenario. If they're not willing to put in 5 minutes and just put the person on the phone and say, look, I'm in this new opportunity, I'm really excited about it, I'm going to go to the top in this company, I'm building a team, I'm selecting my generals right now, I want you to look at it, I've got Nathan on the phone here, he's my partner in the business, and I want you to meet with Nathan. I'm going to be out of town tomorrow, but what's your schedule? I want to link you guys together so you can see what this is. That's okay. That works, okay? I'll be happy to do that. When I sit down with somebody in the beginning, I tell them, this is your business. It's not my business. This is your business, okay? I will not do it for you. I will help you do it. I'll match you energy for energy. You push on the gas pedal, I'll push on the gas pedal. You let off the gas, I'm going to let off the gas because I'm not going to drag you along. Okay, if I see you applying energy and effort and so forth into the business, then I'll match you energy for energy. That's what I'll do. But if you're not, or I see you retracting backwards, you're pulling back, you're not putting the time and effort in, then that's what I'm going to do because this isn't a hobby for me. I'm serious about this as a business. So I've got to spend my time with the people that are putting in the effort. And they deserve my time. I owe it to them, right? Instead of trying to convince you that you're going to do it. One of the biggest problems that new distributors have in this business is they spend way too much time with people that are not going to do it. And they work hard enough to recruit them that they feel like, I just can't let them go. And so what you're doing is you're just dragging people along. You got them by the wrists, and you're dragging them. They're not even holding your wrists. It's like dead weight. And you're rubbing all the hair off the back of their head. Their back's bleeding because you're dragging them on the ground, right? And you won't let go of them. And that's what you got to do, and it will wear you out. It's really hard to drag dead bodies. So what you want to do is you want to get rid of them. And it sounds strange because we all go through this whole process of recruiting and inviting and getting a commitment and getting people to an event and getting them signed up. And it's enough work to do that we just hate to cut people loose. But you have to remember that the first thing that's the biggest enemy you have in this business is time. And the longer you take, the more time it takes for people to get to LOI, to get to executive, to get a bonus check that means something, the longer you stretch that out, the more people perish. And the more you can compress time, and the faster you can make those things happen, so people see success, they start to taste it, and they're excited about it, the more people stick around. And you start to kind of create a core energy. You've got a group of people that can feel that business happening, they can see it happening, and so they get a lot more excited about it. And you almost create a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? I call it velocity. You create velocity inside of your own team, is what you do by doing that. And that happens by compressing time. So if time's your enemy, and what you want to do is save time all the time and be more efficient with your time and get done more with the time you have to give this business, then one of the most important things is to decide who you can get rid of first. It's an important thing. It sounds strange because we worked hard enough to get them, we don't want to let them go, but you have to figure out as soon as you can who's not going to do it, who's really not engaged, and who's really a time waster. Because there's a lot of people that will waste your time. And they'll be, wasting your time with activities that have really nothing to do with building the business. So you'll get a feel for this as you start to go along. You feel like you're dragging a dead body, it's time to cut them loose. If it's too much energy, and you're always having to call them and saying, are you coming to the meeting? Are you coming to the training? Have you got anybody for me to meet with today? Okay, are we going to go to lunch with those people? Are you, have you got some appointments set up that I can help you with? If they're not engaged, if they're not calling you pretty much every day, then you're starting to drag them. Okay, and you just have to have a conversation and say, I feel like I'm dragging you along. I feel like you've lost some energy. Talk to me. Tell me what's going on. Okay, let's have a conversation because I need to spend my time where I know I can get the best return. And right now I'm not feeling like that with you. Do you feel like I'm dragging you? Do you want to quit? That's okay. If you want to quit, that's fine. You might as well know, right? You might as well know right now if they're not going to be around. So that's something to think about. Give a little bit of thought to that. Maybe analyze how it's happening for you right now in the business, and if there's people in your group that you're dragging. There's some people that come to meetings. They've already quit. They don't know it yet. They still come to the meetings even, but they're already done. Okay? They just are like belongers, That's what they want to do. They just want to belong and go to the meeting, but they're just going to waste your time. They never bring anybody. They're not going to do anything. And, don't spend time with them. You don't have to kick them out of the meeting. Let them come to the meetings. That's fine. That doesn't hurt anything. And maybe they'll bring somebody someday, but you personally can't afford to spend your time with those kind of people. Does that make sense? Any questions on that part? Okay, so goal setting is important for me because right up front I want to kind of set the ground rules. This is a partnership. Okay, they can't really afford to hire me and they can't afford to hire you. They got a brand new business that's not making any money yet. So, your time's valuable. If you were going to charge them by the hour, they probably still couldn't afford to hire you. But you're willing to help them for nothing. Because if they can be successful, then you're going to get a piece of it, right? And so you have to just have this talk. That's where I sit down and I have the talk and I say, look, this is a partnership. This is not a hobby for me. This is how I feed my family. This is a serious thing for me. I'm going to the top of this company and I'm picking the people that want to go with me. And if you want to go, then you're going to have to call me every day. I expect us to do something every day on the business. A three-way call, a in-person meeting, two-on-one meeting. I expect to do a webinar, or something. Okay, I want to do something every day on the business. Can you see yourself doing that? How much time can you give it? Can you give it 30 minutes a day? Can you give it an hour a day? Can you give it 2 hours a day? What's your schedule and what can you do and when can you do it? So that I know, so I understand how to work together with you. And so once you get those ground rules in place and they know what you expect, now you have a way to work together. And then when things maybe start tailing off, then they already know that you've already laid the ground rules down and the conversation's going to happen. Okay? So think about that all the time and don't waste time. All right, number 2.